Okay, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be creating a histogram. Now, one of the first things we need when we create a histogram is a data set. So let's get a data set in here for us. Now, here we go. We're actually really lucky with this data set because it has already been laid out in ascending order. So if yours is not in ascending order, I'd really strongly recommend you do that. It's going to make life very easy when we get to the next step. Now, once it's in ascending order, our next step, we need to create a frequency distribution table. Now, this is going to have 3 columns. It's going to have score, tally, and total. So let's get one of those in here now. And here is just a quick example of a frequency distribution table. You can see we've got our three columns right there. We've got score, tally, and total. Now, one of the first things we want to do when we're filling this out, we want to create a score range. Now, because we've got our data in ascending order, we know what our lowest score is and we know what our highest score is. We just need a range of scores there that are going to fit every single one of those scores into it. Now, me personally, I like working with 10s. 10s seem to be very easy because, well, our whole counting system is based on 10s. So because my lowest number is 13, I'm going to go to the next 10 value below that, which is 10, and I'm going to go from 10 to 19. And that's going to be my first bin. Now, because I know my histogram needs to represent continuous data, I'm not going to have 19 in both, in 2 columns. I'm going to have my next one start at 20, and that's going to go to 29, and that's going to continue all the way down until your last column or your last row here includes your highest value in it. So let's continue and finish filling those in. And you can see there right at the end, 90 to 99, our first score all the way at the top is lower than our first score here, and our last score down the bottom here is higher than our last score there. So we can fit every single one of those data points in between there, and they will fit in a bin. So let's start tallying them up. Now, to help myself keep track, I like to cross off the data value as I put it in. So 13 is going to fall into the range of 10 to 19. And in fact, so is 17, and so is 19. Now, my next score is 21. That doesn't fit in there. So it does, however, fit in the next one down. So 20 to 29, well, 21 falls in that. So I'm just going to continue on and finish this off for us. Feel free to fast forward the video. This shouldn't take too long. Okay, now that we're finished with crossing off all of our data entries, we've got our tallies. What we're going to do now, you've probably guessed it, is we're going to put in the total. So we've got 3, 3, 2, 4, 6, 4, 6, 8, and 4. Now, if we've done this correctly, we've counted, I know I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows of 5 data points each. So I should have down here, my total should make up to 80. So let's count it up. Well, 3 and 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10. 6 and 4 is another 10, making 20. 6 and 4 is another 10, making 30. And 8 and 2 is another 10, making 40. So we are smack on the money. That's good. Now that we have our tally marks, we've got our totals, we've got our bin ranges, it's time to start looking at making our histogram. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to get rid of our data set. We don't need that anymore. And I am going to make this a bit smaller so that it's more manageable. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. We're just going to put it up here in the corner. Now, when I'm making my histogram, I've already pre-made one here, but what you want to be sure of once we check this out, here we go. So the first thing you want to be doing when you're making your histogram is actually drawing this x-axis, and you want to make sure that you can break it up into enough sections to fit each one of those in it. So your scores will come down here, and this is going to create something of a number line almost. And that x-axis right there, that's where you're going to actually label it, each section with the score. So starting from 10 to 19, 20 to 29, and so on. So just to 39, feel free to fast forward again if you'd like. Okay. And there we have our x-axis values all sorted out. That is the x-axis for our histogram. Now, once we've got that done, our y-axis is our next step right here. Now, this y-axis represents our tallies and our totals. So we just need to make sure that our x-axis goes high enough to match the highest value we have in our total. So our highest value is 8. So as you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're good. So let's label that accordingly. And 8. Right. Now we've got space for our bars. We know how high we have to make them. So really all we have to do now is rule the lines to make that happen. So for my 10 to 19 score range, which I have here, I had 3. So that's literally just going to go up to the number 3 mark. I'm going to draw my horizontal line to start with, and that's going to go there. After that, let's go the vertical, and that is my first bar. Now, it's really important to remember here that the next one does not have a gap. These bars have to touch because this is continuous data. So from 20 to 29, we've got another 3. So let's get that horizontal line. And we're just going to continue that along. Now, feel free again to fast forward. I'm going to complete this histogram, and hopefully it shouldn't take too long. Okay, so there we have it. That is our histogram completed. Now, if you want to make it look a little bit nicer and you want to fill in some of these, it might make it a little bit clearer. It works, and that is creating a histogram. Okay, if you have any questions, write them down, bring them into class. Your teacher will be more than happy to answer any questions you have, and I'm sure they've got some activities planned for you. From here, I will see you next time.